This episode of Horror Movie Talk brought to you by Beats, Mother Nature's oldest prank on humankind. Straight from the ground, to your table, to your stool. Nothing makes you relive the past 24 to 48 hours quite like Beats. Introducing unsuspecting millions to the existential dread of internal bleeding since time immemorial. Buy Beats today at your local grocer. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, an opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Your schlubby hosts each week are Bryce Hanson, the cool collected nihilist, and David Day, a cool guy who's always cool. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm Bryce Hanson,
and I'm David Day. Boy, you kind of broke into like a monster truck announcer kind of guy.
Yeah.
What are we doing today?
Well, we are talking about Paranormal Activity 2.
Yay! Finally, another entry into the Paranormal Activity franchise.
Going way out of order. A smarter thing would have been to start at 1. But whatever.
If you're watching the movies, it almost doesn't make a difference which one you watch. Right. I mean, you could logically start at 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Even this one is. No, I guess this one isn't chronologically the first.
No.
3 is the
3 is
first chronologically. Yeah. Second.
And then 1 and 2 right together, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Pause 2.
Yeah.
At a certain point and watch 1, and then come back to 2.
Right.
Okay.
Also, the marked ones is in on the end of 1.
Oh, good Lord.
So they're all kind of happening simultaneously.
Okay, so how the episode usually works is we go over the movie and we give it a brief review and our score. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being a miserable dredge where you're angry that you sat through it and you can't even have fun making fun of it. 5 is completely average, totally what you expected and nothing more. And then 10 is so good that it transcends the genre and would be something that would, should win awards.
Should. Might not, because Hereditary totally snubbed.
Yeah.
Top tier 10.
Later, we'll be doing a bit called Kill Count. It's a game we play where I read off a couple movies, and David has to guess which one has the higher death count in it.
Yeah, Bryce is pretty brutal when it comes to making these games up, so see if you can do better than me. I bet you can't, but I do pretty poorly, so you're going to do very bad.
So we'll get that to later. But first, just want to give a couple plugs to our website. First and foremost, horrormovietalk.com. That's where you'll find all our past episodes, and we do blogging every once in a while. Actually, recently, our writer Keith put out a blog post on Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
And it probably contains everything that you want to know about that movie and more. Yeah, it's cultural perspective.
It's kind of it's kind of a rundown about how slashers kind of got fucked out, and how Season of the Witch was a chance to redeem the series from going down the road that it eventually went down, but it didn't end up happening.
It was. He pointed out that it was an opportunity to begin like a horror anthology series.
Yes.
A la American Horror Story.
Yeah.
To where, you don't have to have the same people, same family, and it can just be, a new cast, a new type of story, same feel. Anyways, check out horrormovietalk.com. And also, you'll find links on our website to our social media. We're very active on Facebook and Twitter, in that we will respond to anyone that messages us.
For sure.
We post every Wednesday new episodes, so subscribe to us and leave a review. Also, if you want to support the podcast, one of the ways you can do that is to click through the Amazon Associates link on our website. It's the green button in the header up top right. And just means anything that you buy or rent, if you want to rent one of the movies that we talk about on the podcast, we'll get a little sliver of a cut from that. And, hopefully that will grow over time. And then finally, Shudder. If you don't know what Shudder is, it's the Netflix of horror. And it has a curated list of great horror movies and series and podcasts that you can watch and subscribe to. And for our listeners, we have a special promo. If you sign up for Shudder and enter HMT at checkout, you'll get a 30-day free trial, which is better than their 7-day standard free trial.
That's shudder.com. SHUDDER.
So thanks for listening, and let's get on to the show. We're here to talk about movies. Let's talk about movies.
Let's talk about them.
Let's talk about them.
This is horror movie talk. Let's talk about horror movie.
Let's talk about horror movie. So we rewatched Paranormal Activity 2, and it still holds up.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, let's hear the trailer.
This is your room, Hunter.
Hey, Jackal.
Who is that? It's her and Katie. So weird. I totally thought we lost it.
Somebody broke in and trashed the house. Christy thought it was a ghost. I know you guys are freaked out, okay? And I'm gonna take care of you guys.
No, he's not.
That's a lie.
What's your take on this whole ghost situation?
I think it's awesome. This is the freakiest thing that happened to me last night. This is the door closing by itself.
Paranormal Activity 2, rated R, opens Thursday night, October 21st at midnight.
Spooky sounds.
Spooky sounds. Lots of screaming. Paranormal Activity can be found wherever you rent or buy your movies. So, Amazon, places, Vudu, Google Video, everything. Paranormal Activity 2 takes place before and briefly after the occurrences of Paranormal Activity. However, this time, the movie focuses on Christy Ray's, played by Sprague Graydon. Her family of 4. Christy is the sister of Katie from the first film. A year after Christy gives birth to their son Hunter, strange occurrences, activities even, start happening, and the Ray family eventually figures out that they are being tormented by a demon. Aw, shucks.
Jesus Christ. Not a demon again.
Paranormal Activity 2 uses the same found footage techniques found in the first film, but expands the scope of the story beyond the recent hauntings and delves a little more into Christy and Katie's past. And then in the following films, it, kind of jumps the shark and goes way more into it.
Yeah, it goes
in my opinion.
All kinds of back in time. And then forward in time.
Yeah. Paranormal Activity 2 takes everything that works from the first film and ever so slightly expands on it. It's not perfect, but it is highly effective. Whenever your marketing focuses almost exclusively on genuine audience reactions in the trailer, you're doing something right.
Yeah, that's right. The trailer for the first one and the second one were mostly just... They were just
audience shots.
Yeah, they were just audience shots of people being scared. It was night vision camera of the audience in a theater being freaked out.
Yeah.
Worked really well. Like, it got me, got my butt in that seat.
Right. The movie expands on the lore of the Ray sisters in this movie, but never overextends like the later films. The mystery, dread, and dramatic irony are all there in the movie, and it somehow is just as memorable as the first. Maybe
even a little more. Like, for me, the visuals on this one, I almost remember this one as the original.
Yeah.
Because of the pool.
It's kind of weird. When I was looking at the critical reception, 1 and 3 are considered the best, and 2 and 4 are just meh. But I remember 2 a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that much from 3, and I know I've seen it.
1, 2, and 3 are all top tier, in my opinion.
So you'll walk away wondering how the filmmakers created more tension with a static shot of a pool vacuum than most of the tension contained in most horror movies. The subtle audio and visual cues are enough to carry you through to the end when they go full jump scare and finally have some payoff. I'm pretty partial to these movies. I like these movies a lot. I give it a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I'd go 8 out of 10 on this one as well. It's got such good bones. There's not This is not a complex movie. It's not something that's got a lot of dialogue that's meaty. It's not got a lot of funny moments. It's just about building and releasing tension in a interesting way.
I mean, it's undoubtedly a gimmick.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What they're doing is definitely a gimmick. Not only the found footage, but how they're building tension within that framework is just a trick.
Yeah, it is definitely a gimmick. It's definitely a trick,
but that doesn't mean I don't love it.
Oh, it's great. It feels this one maybe the most out of all, this one and 3. So Paranormal Activity 2 and 3 feel the most like you're watching an episode of Big Brother. It feels very, very voyeuristic.
Yeah.
More so even than the first, because the first one had a lot of handy cam, like where he was walking around with the camera. This one's almost all stationary cameras that are placed throughout their house, and so it just feels like an episode of Big Brother where you get to watch a demon move things throughout the house while the characters are unaware or very aware.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the gimmick works, because people that like spooky stuff, if you're watching, I mean, before Ghost Adventures, before all these, reality programs around ghost hunters, like, that was the stuff that you saw would be these obscure videos of paranormal investigators before that was ever
a pop culture
thing that people knew about outside of watching Sightings.
Right.
Or some random Unsolved Mysteries episode. But they'd have these, shitty home videos of, look, scratches appear.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh.
Well, Sasquatch walking through the forest. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what is that, a UFO flying through the air? Like, it's so blurry.
Yeah, and so before camera phones, this is what we had to go off of, people.
Yeah. Potentially very questionable video footage of weird shit that may or may not have actually happened, but there wasn't enough backstory to know for sure.
Not everyone had a camera with them, and so in the very rare occurrence that someone caught something that was unexplained, all of a sudden it gives credence to it. And now everyone has a phone, and, there's not a corresponding uptick on paranormal activity caught on video, so it's like, it was all I guess
it was interesting. Like, if we want to go down this rabbit hole a little bit further, I was listening to Joe Rogan talk to a debunker this last week, and I can't remember the name of the gentleman he had on, but he's a very famous and debunker of pop culture myths and religious stuff, and
is it the Randy whatever guy?
Yeah,
I thought he was dead by now, but
I'm not sure. I can't recall his name, but the one thing that I remember very, very much from like the 90s and video footage was rods. Do you remember rods? Those things that would fly around in the video, in the video footage that people would take, and the only way you could see these things that were supposed to be alive and unviewable by our human eyes was you had to have a some specific high speed camera that you could slow down the footage, and then you would see these rods flying through the air really, really fast, zooming around. But as it turned out, actually one of those ghost shows debunked, or it was like a debunking ghost show or something like that. They found that the way they were produced, this was an artifact produced on cameras that had a certain shutter speed, and so that, you know, but for a long time I was like, man,
those rods, man.
There's fucking rods flying around. Got to watch out for those rods. And that reminded me of it.
There is an afterlife. There is an eternity. You get to live your life as a rod flying through space.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Well, finally. I thought it would be more than this. Nope. Just
rods. Okay, well, let's get into spoilers. All right, so let's just briefly go over the timeline of this movie.
Okay.
It happens before and briefly after.
You're really looking to pin this down, huh?
Paranormal Activity 1. Yeah, so it starts out a year before Paranormal Activity 1.
Okay.
The family, it just shows family videos of right before and after their son Hunter is born.
Mm-hmm.
Generic. Look at the nursery. Hey, we're moving in the baby. Here's the shots of the baby with relatives, and you see that Katie's related. Is it Katie? Christy and Katie?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you get to meet their babysitter, their live-in baby, their nanny.
Their nanny and the daughter, which is the father's daughter from a previous marriage.
Right.
And David was all,
God damn, look at those hot children. Damn it. Damn you. Damn you and damn you forever. He clipped that from an episode that hasn't been released yet. I didn't just say that, FYI.
And
there's context that's
no
being
one
left
believes
out.
you. No one believes you.
There's a bunch of context.
He said that right now, right in the studio. I don't understand why he's trying to. He's just trying to backpedal. So 2 months after, no, sorry, and then it skips forward to 2 months before the events of Paranormal Activity 1, and Hunter's now 1 year old, and the house gets ransacked randomly, and this was a great move.
That's a good premise
on the filmmaker's part, because
on the demon's part,
on the demon's part as well, because it gives the filmmakers it gives the family in the universe an excuse to get a security system. So They set up security cameras everywhere because their house got ransacked. And actually, for all we know, it could have actually got ransacked, and the only thing that was taken was some necklace or something,
or maybe a photo or something like that.
There was something that was taken that
something
was
profoundly
significant
personal
between the two sisters.
Yeah, and let me just mention that the video camera installer dudes. Yeah. There's one of them who definitely also does porn.
Oh yeah, I was gonna look that up if that was
100%.
I guess it wouldn't be an IMDb if he was.
That dude was the most porno looking guy I've ever seen. I was like, oh, is he here to? He's here to fuck her, right? No,
and he's all,
God damn! Look at those hot children. Fuck. This is gonna be a rough episode.
And then paranormal. Then after that, Paranormal Activity happens for several days and nights, and then spoiler, they transfer the curse over to Katie, and then 3 weeks later, Katie starts mentioning weird stuff happening, and then it skips forward to the events. To after the events of Paranormal Activity 1, and Katie comes over in the movie's ending.
Right.
And, does Katie things.
Fun stuff.
So that's the timeline. It happens before and after the... I don't know. I had to clarify that. It's not that...
It's not that important, but it's notable in that I can't really think of any other movies that have a franchise of, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6. There's Paranormal Activity 1 through 4. There's the marked ones and Ghost Dimension. 6 movies, all of which happen in timelines that are so tightly woven,
right,
as these are. And it's interesting how they do it. and there's a lot of simultaneous things happening in each movie to each other. So there's a culmination of events that's all kind of taking place both in the 80s and in today.
It's not like in The Conjuring where it skips back a couple decades and says, this is the origin story for this. This is Paranormal Activity is the origin story for Paranormal Activity, except it happens like a week before.
Right. Yeah, it's
instead of like decades or years before.
And they're all mixed up together, all of them.
Anywho, so first I wanted to talk about the sound, because that is my favorite part of these movies.
I'm sorry I didn't have my speakers on.
I could still hear it in my head.
Yeah.
But the way they use the sound design in these movies is genius, in that it creates a sense of dread automatically, and by the end of the movie, you're so trained.
You're conditioned.
Yeah. That it'll just show a black screen, and then you're just like, I feel so fucking uneasy right now.
Gives you that whoop, 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 deep bass wubbing.
Because it's just like...
Wow, that's a really good impression.
That's the sound.
You did that with your mouth.
Uh-huh. And it just... anytime it shows any kind of security cam footage, and even if nothing happens visually on the screen, if you hear that sound, you're like, oh, some serious shit's about to go down.
It's here.
Yeah.
It's here. Yeah, and really that's what works so well. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The sound, the sound cue, the audio cue for the demon is really what pulls everything together in all these paranormal movies, because it gives you it clues you in on how you should be feeling. Something is going to happen right now.
Right.
And furthermore, it provides a great method to deliver jump scares, because if the sound isn't there and then something happens right away, oh my God, I wasn't prepared for that. There was no sound to cue me in.
Right.
So it's brilliant.
It's the audio equivalent to just saying, wait for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
there's other great things that they do with sound. The first night where they have the security cameras up, it shows the pool, and the pool light goes off, and instead of, we couldn't hear it. Maybe the sound was there, but what happened was all the crickets and all the background sound of nature went out.
That's right.
When the light went out.
I forgot about that.
And then it slowly came back towards the end of it.
That's right.
Just like real subtle moves like that at the end, where I'm sure there's people that hate these movies because they think that's cheap, or they just don't. They can't suspend their disbelief. But for me, I get drawn into it, and even if I know what they're doing, even if I know that I'm being manipulated, I still love it.
Yeah,
you know.
That's such a primordial. That plays on the lizard brain of every person,
right?
Because you're dialed in. You're always dialed into your surroundings. If you are out camping and you're trying to go to sleep and you hear some crickets and stuff, and then everything goes fucking silent, that's worrisome. That's a real fear. That's a fearful thing that you should be scared of, because that denotes shit's going down.
Yeah.
Oops.
If crickets are afraid,
what chance
then
do you have?
should be afraid.
Not that crickets. Wow. That was impressive.
I hear a cricket right now.
If you could double that up and then like pitch correct it so it was like cricket with, oh man, do it. I dare you. You won't.
No, I won't.
Oh.
It uses all the tropes from the first movie, but I do think they up the ante in this one in a couple of ways, and they don't jump the shark. They don't overdo it.
Right.
You can hear my baby crying in the background.
What a baby.
Come on, baby. You're 18 months now. Grow up.
16.
16 months. Damn.
I don't know that just off the top of your head because your kids are so hot. I know that because your wife told me when I walked in. God damn, look at those hot children. They're not hot. I mean, it's not that they're not hot. It's just I don't think they're hot. I don't think any kids are hot.
So upping the ante, there's a couple ways, subtle ways. They add a dog.
They do.
There's Abby the dog.
Oh man, the dog is is the best addition to this movie. Because, and what a good dog.
What a good pupper.
Best actor in the movie, for sure.
Yeah.
It was so, that's
better than those hot fucking children.
God damn. He was such a good boy, BOI, because he's just like the crickets. As soon as you see a dog start getting disturbed about something, the dog is your alarm. You go, oh no, what's the dog worried about? It's got senses, and this dog senses all kinds of stuff.
The second edition, the pool. What is it about that pool?
This pool is the most...
It sticks with me.
It's almost the most memorable thing in movie history for me. The pool, there's something about they have this sequence of showing cameras, still shots from cameras. And in this one, they insert the pool view. And in the pool, there's a little pool monster. You know, it's not a monster, but it's like a little machine that goes and wiggles around.
Yeah,
the
like
bottom
the
of
vacuum.
Pool. Yeah, a little pool vacuum.
Vacuum robot.
So it adds some movement to the shot. And, you know, the pool's like illuminated against otherwise dark night outside. Something about it sticks with me so perfectly.
Right.
And you're constantly...
And then subtly, this is the other thing. It's great. They don't show everything on camera, which can be frustrating, but also super effective because they cut between the pool and, you know, other places in the house, and nothing happens. But then the next day, when people are walking around, the dad sees the pool vacuum is out of the pool. It's sitting right next to.
How'd you get out?
And then it goes a couple days or a couple times where it just keeps getting out of the pool, and we never see it get out of the pool.
Yeah,
until they check the video.
Until they show it, and when they do show it, it's so simple but so disturbing at the same time. It's like that should not be able to happen.
Just like whoop.
Yeah. So imagine a pool vacuum climbing vertically the pool wall until it reaches the curb of the pool, and then it just keeps on climbing, and then makes a 90-degree angle at the once it reaches, you know, the cement, and then it just keeps going for a little ways, and it's like, oh, that's not right. Yeah, that pool skimmer ain't right.
So the pool. The other thing that they augment between movies, there's more cameras. I believe it felt like there was more cameras.
There was really only the one in the first one.
No, they had the living room and the kitchen, I think. And the bedroom.
Yes. Yeah. No, well, the bedroom one was his handy cam that he would set up on a tripod.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, they had more cameras, more skepticism. That was a great thing about the first one, where the guy was super excited about it. He's like, awesome. Yeah. Yes. And then the girl, you know, Katie's like, just don't. You're going to make it worse.
Michael, you got to leave it alone. And he's just like, I got to know what it is. And she's like, no, you really don't.
So anyways, in this one, there's an actual skeptic that discounts what people are saying, which is, you know, a nice trope to add. And then there's more background story and more people in general. The family's bigger, and so there's lots of, you know, more fuckery to go around.
Yeah. Yeah, the dad was a very good skeptic.
Yeah.
And everything he said, like, you really couldn't refute it. It's like the door closed on the girl as she was babysitting her little brother, and you know, it was a violent door closure. You know,
like it could be a wind.
And he's like, "Well, it's just the wind from the back of the house. It blows through here all the time." And she's like, "Dad, no!" And he's like, "How could it be anything else?"
Yeah, it's a lot of the time it's very convenient skepticism.
Yeah, well,
and at times irrational skepticism, but. I mean, it's a horror movie. You need to use that stuff for dramatic irony and whatnot. But you know, yeah, one of the things that if you're going to pick it apart, you'll ask like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Is when she's locked out of the house that's when the demon basically picks up the baby, lets the baby wander around the house for, like a half an hour, and then puts the baby back right before the parents get into the house. And if she's going back and reviewing the footage, how would she not see that?
Yeah.
Or how would she not look at that?
Because she's not concerned about the other cameras, but you're right.
Yeah.
But oh man, I hate it when demons mess with babies. It's one of my top 10 pet peeves. Is like demons. Come on.
I wonder if that's one of the reason why the pool is so memorable. Because as parents, pools are like terrifying.
Oh, because your baby might fall in it.
Because your baby might fall into it.
Oh no, that's not it. I mean, it's not it for me. That might be it for you.
How dark would that have been if the demon let out the baby and just let it wander into the pool?
Oh man, that's a total missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That might have been too dark. Like, not actually let the baby fall in the pool, but definitely like stand at the edge of the pool at night and look into it. Oof. Man, how did we just come up with a better movie? I think so.
That's what our job is. The setup. So we already talked about the house being ransacked. So it's a great setup and a reason for not only adding... This was a good example of a movie that used the tropes well, and it went through the effort of creating an excuse to videotape things for a found footage movie.
This is another thing that Bryce loves. And he loves it more than you can really appreciate, which is he needs a good excuse, not just a decent excuse. He needs like how would you say it? You need a realistic excuse to do something.
Yeah, a reasonable excuse. Because in Ghost Dimension, they had just given up. They're like, I'm tired of trying to explain why. Just everyone just puts videos up all the time.
We found a cool camcorder.
We found a cool camcorder, so of course we're gonna videotape everything.
Everything all the time.
That's what people do.
There's goop flying around our house in this other dimension.
Yeah, so this one, it all made sense. Like, the family videos looked like family videos. When they were making videos of the aftermath of being ransacked, it looked like insurance videos where they're just going to send this off to their insurance company. And then when they set up security cameras, it looked like that.
Yeah.
And it was, it gets less and less plausible and a little more stretchy the further on the franchise goes. But this was still early on and it worked. And then...
The nanny.
The nanny.
Oh, baby.
So, superstitious Hispanic nanny that gets kicked out of the house because she starts blessing the house with, like, smoke and shit. And the dad's like, no... We don't want any of this religious nonsense, and kicks her out. So
do you recall what happened? What was the reason she first started walking around the house with incense, burning incense? Something happened, and she had to go upstairs and grab the baby, and then...
What was it?
Yeah, what was that?
Huh. I don't remember. Was it the girl was walking around and it had like the choo-choo train going around?
That was much later.
Was it much later?
So at some point early-ish in the movie, maybe in the first third of the movie, the Hispanic nanny, something happens upstairs, and the Hispanic nanny gets a whiff of Paranormal Activity. And she's keyed in on this stuff. She knows what's up a little bit. She grabs some incense from her emergency incense kit in her purse. She burns it around the house just as the parents are coming home from a nice night out. And the dad is like, whoa, I can't have this voodoo bullshit going on in my house. You got to get out of here, nanny. And then he sends her home and basically sends her on her way for forever. Like, she gets fired. And at that point, that was probably, like you said, the least believable moment.
Right.
But it does up the dramatic irony.
Because this nanny had, basically raised their child for at least a year. And, you would at least expect, like, an argument from the wife.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't fire Broomhilda or whatever her name is.
Yeah, I don't recall. I don't recall her name either.
I have. Oh, Martine. You can't fire Martine.
You can't fire Martine.
And there was just a little bit of coldness between the daughter and the wife, but it was never really addressed. But in terms of storytelling, it's just there to create dramatic irony, because it's like, this is the woman that could have saved this from happening, and your hubris and your arrogance and pride kept you from safety.
And I believe Martine actually has her own movie. I've seen the marked ones, and I believe the marked ones is about Martine's family. I could be wrong about that. It is a Hispanic family. It does look like Martine, but it's mostly about her son and his friend, I think.
Yeah.
So
we'll get around to watching all the Paranormal Activities sometime in 2022 or something like that.
No, we got to do it sooner than that.
Yeah. Then the ongoing stuff that happens, the pool vacuum, getting out of the pool, the basement door kind of opening, Hunter always looking off into the middle distance, the little baby. Which is great because babies do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Starting this podcast has really been not as much fun as I thought it would be in terms of that, where my child does or says something that's a little off, which 2-year-olds are wont to do. They're constantly talking and saying things that don't make any sense at all, and it's like, Daddy, where's other Daddy? And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Where is he? Maybe you can help me out with that, because that sounds creepy.
What are you talking about, other Daddy? Other Daddy. The dark one with the red eyes.
Martin.
With the sharp teeth.
Who's Martin?
And the goats.
Maybe
the goat feet.
Maybe my wife's just cheating on me.
Yeah, it could be.
Probably
could be that.
That's more likely than a ghost.
Yeah. And then, regular door closing stuff. See, this is the part of the movie that's always magic for me. I love the part where nothing is actually really happening, but just weird little things that you kind of notice.
The door opened.
Yeah.
A shadow went across the room.
Yeah.
The blanket got pulled off her leg.
The dog barked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all stuff that, some of it's just relatively normal. It's like, hey, look, the pool light went out.
Yeah.
For a little bit. I mean,
Mind taker.
And then eventually gets to, the finale part where the crazy shit really starts to happen. People thrown around. And then you get into the kind of the backstory where people are starting to do research. And so Christy starts talking about how she's looking up stuff about demons. And she finds out that, if your ancestors create a deal with demons to get riches.
No, it wasn't Christy. It was her daughter.
Oh, was it her daughter?
Yeah, I believe so.
So they're researching it. It was basically the same kind of deal as Hereditary, where someone in their past has made a deal with a demon, and then somewhere in their progeny there will be a comeuppance. And in this case, it's their firstborn son, which is actually the same thing as Hereditary.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So
Traumapoline.
So you're saying the lizard people, in accordance with the mole people, are working with the reverse vampire.
So there's a kind of, it's explained what's happening. The demons are trying to get the firstborn, which would be Hunter, and then there's given some rules by Katie when Christy is starting to talk to her sister, Katie. They talk about what happened in their past, and it's kind of in shadows, but Katie gives the advice of it thrives on fear. So basically telling Christy the policy is don't ask, don't tell about ghosts.
Ghosts, their ears get hot when you talk about them, and they love it.
Yeah.
So stop it.
And the more you fear, the more powerful they become.
Yeah.
And I think they use that throughout all the other movies too.
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy duty deal. Of course, no matter how much you ignore it, it's coming in this.
Right, because the next scene is Christy just talking about like, oh, let's not think about it. Let's not talk about it. Just don't even worry about it. And then blammo!
Blammy!
Whammy! Lots of Paranormal Activity after that. So Yeah, Christy is in the house during the day, and the kitchen freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, the kitchen explodes.
Yeah. Which is a great scene, which is the thing that you're talking about where there's no lead up to it at all. It's just she's sitting there
reading a magazine, trying to ignore the thoughts about demons. Mm-hmm. And then, boom, every cabinet and drawer and everything in the kitchen just flies wide open.
Which is a great effect. Like, now in retrospect, now that I think of it, it's like some practical effects people had to set all that up and had it happen all at the same time. That's awesome.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I do kind of wonder how they did it. Like little hydraulic, like little pushers or something like that are all on a switch at the same time.
Yeah.
Or something. It's pretty impressive to see like every drawer and cabinet in a kitchen just fly open at the same time with no one there.
Yeah. And then she runs away. And then this is another example of great sound design, because after that happens, she's like, gets the F out of there. She's like, ah! And then the teapot starts going off.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just the sound of a teapot, but after that, it's like super unsettling.
You gonna get that?
Yeah.
You can't, you know the feeling, listener, you know the feeling of a teapot going on, a tea kettle going off on the oven. It's one of those things. It's like, I gotta get that.
Yeah. And then we have to say goodbye to Doggy. Oh, poor Doggy.
Poor pupper.
Demon attacks Doggy. So, I mean, after that point, you know, what you think about the demon is...
I mean, this guy was a real jerk.
He was just a real jerk.
Throwing around a dog like that.
He was such a good dog, too. Yeah, and what happens is that so as far as I can tell, the demon lives in the basement of this house, and in a few shots, I think in the kitchen camera, and also the living room that looks into the kitchen camera, that you can see the door to the basement. And on one of those, one night, the door opens, and the dog, you see, the dog always sleeps in the little boy's room, in Hunter's room. And at that moment, in tandem, the dog upstairs, you get to see him get up, and he's like, what is going on downstairs? And he walks down the stairs real slow, and he's like kind of growling, and he gets down the stairs, and then he just kind of gets yanked off screen, and you hear him like fighting something, and then, oh, poor dog, he got hurt. He's laying down behind the couch, and the dad takes him off to the vet. And then other stuff happens because the dog isn't there anymore to protect the little boy. So the dog really worked well, I think, and it was very sad that but, you know, he was a stunt dog. He knew how to take those hits, so.
Yeah, is there anything more, like, just heart-wrenching than just hearing a dog go, bark, bark? Oh,
yeah,
and then just stop making the sound.
And furthermore, the amount of compassion there's something in our head that, well, in my head, that's like, oh, that's just an actor, they'll be fine in a movie. If a person gets hurt, I don't care so much, because I like, for some reason, I just go, it'll be okay. But if an animal gets hurt, mostly a dog. If a dog gets hurt, or a horse. If a dog or a horse gets hurt, for some reason I instantaneously go, "Oh, I hope he's okay." And I don't really understand that within me, but there it is. I think I share that with a lot of people.
All right, then, you know, just then Demon has full on demon powers. After that, then it's just free game.
Yeah, once the dog's gone, the demon's really goes nuts.
Throwing Christy around, and then she gets possessed and all this stuff. I mean, really, the end of the movie, it's a great payoff, but it's the least interesting part of the movie.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a short episode just because there's not a lot to talk about other than how, you know, the elements that make up this movie. But it's not like a tremendous story or anything like that. It's just great at what it does, which is amp up the tension and the scares.
I mean, at the time, this was still brand new because Paranormal Activity had just come out the year before. They pumped these out quick.
Yeah, well,
and
yeah,
you know, it has since become a franchise that has made 30 times how much it cost to make them.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Paranormal Activity is still the best return on investment ever of a horror movie.
Of all time. No,
Yeah.
I believe of any movie.
Probably of any movie, yeah, because it was made with, was it
15 grand or something like that?
And it's crazy. And it just made like 300 million or something like that.
I thought it made almost a billion. But I could be wrong. Let's actually look up those stats because I'm interested to know what did it cost, and what did it make?
Paranormal Activity.
We're talking the original now.
Production budget was $450,000.
Oh, I apologize. I was way off.
But most of that was probably advertising. Let me see. Hold on. Worldwide box office, 194,183,000.
Wow. So it cost $400,000 to make, and made almost $200 million. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And that's just the first one. That's not talking over the whole franchise. So
yeah,
pretty impressive stuff.
So yeah, and then at the very end, I mean, spoilers. I mean, this movie is like 10 years old now.
Yeah.
Right. Spoilers. So what happens in the end is Dan brings back Martine to remove the curse, because Christy at this point has a demon bite and she's possessed, and so Dan brings back Martine and to remove the curse, and they transfer the curse over to Katie,
her sister.
And so that's what happens with Paranormal Activity 1, and then of course Katie comes back and
it comes full circle.
It comes full circle. So anyways, final recommendations. Who would like this?
You know, the interesting thing about the Paranormal Activity series is it appeals to such a broad audience. It's why it did so well. If you want to be scared, if you want to feel nervous, if you just want kind of a good time with spooky shit, this is a very good way to do it. And they're all pretty entertaining, with the exception of, I think, the fourth and the ghost dimension for sure.
Yeah.
So in that, if you're a fan of horror movies, it's for you, unless you really despise found footage. Although it's not like most found footage, because it's not a lot of shaky cam. It's a lot easier to digest than most found footage stuff. So
it refined found footage in a way that other movies haven't done and haven't really matched.
Yeah, for
the most part, because since it is a gimmick, it works the best one way. Exactly,
and I don't know why more haven't capitalized on this. Like Grave Encounters kind of does, works for the steady cams, but there's a lot of shaky cam in there too. I can't really think of any other found footage movies that capitalize on basically security cameras, which is what I like a lot about the Paranormal Activity series. And it sounds so dumb to keep harping on this.
There should be a haunted warehouse movie.
Haunted warehouse movie.
Because they got security cams in there.
There you go.
Down warehouses.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or like a haunted...
fast food chain.
Or haunted server farm.
Oh. I think...
that will be Unfriended 3.
The server room.
Dark server room.
Dark server
Server farm. It's in the cloud.
The nap murderer.
Anyways. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend it to, I mean, for people that are looking for a scary movie. If you haven't seen these movies before, you should definitely.
It's a hole-in-one.
You got to watch them in surround sound.
Yeah, you got to get some bass in there for sure, because otherwise you're missing out on an actual important aspect of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Paranormal Activity or not.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's our review of the film. Go see it if you haven't. If you're wondering, if you saw Paranormal Activity 1 and wonder if the sequels are worth it at all, they are. Especially the first couple. are definitely worth watching if you're a big fan of them. But let's move on to Kill Count. We have a new theme song.
Ooh, I'm so excited. That's badass.
Kill Count. So Kill Count is a game where, okay, first let me just give a shout out to who gave us that theme song. There's a very benevolent user on Reddit that wanted to just gift some music creation services for podcasters. And this guy, he's pretty great because he's got a whole persona. He's the king of all badgers.
Okay.
And you can go to his website at... I have it pulled up here. Just a second. Where's my mouse? benevolentbadger.com.
Right on. Check out Benevolent Badger. Especially our podcast friends. Check out benevolentbadger.com.
And he might... I think even on his website, he says email him and he might toss you out one or two freebies. But he did a really good job. We did one or two go-backs to just fix some stuff. But very professional and great product. I really appreciate him. The king of all badgers.
Yeah, that sounded great.
He was the god of badgers, and it was fun talking to him.
Awesome.
So,
thank you,
anyways,
Benevolent Badger. That was very benevolent of you.
Yeah. All hail. This was the title on his site is All Hail the Benevolent Badger. So Kill Count is a game where we look at the number of deaths that are contained in a movie and compare two movies 5 times. And David has to choose which one has the higher kill count.
I'm stretching.
So every time we're going to pick a horror movie and then another movie. Sometimes we have a theme. This time it's just going to be a grab bag. All comers are available.
Okay, I'm ready. I think I got this.
Okay.
How many are we doing? There's 5 comparisons?
5. So play along at home. Keep track of your score and let us know how you do on Twitter.
All right, go.
Horror Movie Talk. First, Grindhouse double feature, 2007. So that contains Death Proof and then the other one.
Death Proof and then the other one.
Robert Rodriguez. It's like Slaughter or something. I can't even remember what it's called.
I don't know.
Death Proof was obviously the better one. Or Titanic.
Oh. Well, if it's not Titanic, then Grindhouse is, I gotta say, bravo. But I'm just based on the fact that, I mean, I don't know. Then again, I wonder if it counts the amount of people shown on screen dying in Titanic, or if it just goes off of the historical number of people who died on the Titanic.
That's a good question.
This is rough. I'm still going Titanic because there was a whole shipload of people that all died.
Wrong.
God damn it.
It's really close. Grindhouse is 310 and Titanic is 307.
Well, okay.
I mean, if we're looking at historical,
there's got
Titanic has to win it. It must be on-screen deaths.
It must be.
But that is a considerable amount of deaths.
That's a lot of people.
In Grindhouse.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Number 2, We Were Soldiers. Mel Gibson's movie. I think he directed it, or he was in it at least. 2002 action movie.
Okay.
Vietnam War. Or Dawn of the Dead, 1978, the original Dawn of the Dead.
These zombie ones are always tough.
Yeah.
Because you go, did the dead count? Because they're already dead. They died. They're the undead, though. Mm-hmm. So maybe they don't count.
Yeah. It's a conundrum.
Tough. I feel like...
And then it's up against a war movie.
Yeah, I really do feel like you would want to fuck with my head. So I'm going to go with the movie that no doubt neither of us has seen. and say We Are Soldiers.
I've seen it.
Oh, how is it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was good.
I watched Braveheart today. A lot of people died in that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch it. It was just on the background.
My ancestor was in that movie.
What?
Yeah, we found out when we were researching names for our sons, or Eston in particular. We were looking at our family tree and just clicking back through. I mean, because we're Mormon, so our family trees are well researched for various reasons. But anyways,
full of foliage
and foliage, and found out that I am related to Robert the Bruce.
Robert the Bruce.
Yeah,
man, that's a fucking name right there. Robert the Bruce.
Yeah, it's fucking great. So he was the king of Scotland, that was in Braveheart,
like the hosts of this show, David DeBryce.
Mm-hmm.
2 first names as your name,
Robert the Bruce. And then we found out that Erin, looking at her family tree, was related to Edward Longshanks.
Oh, damn!
Which was the evil king of England in Braveheart.
Yeah.
So we fought each other. And I think actually somewhere in my tree I'm related to William Wallace too.
Oh,
but I mean, it's like, not direct. It's like someone's mother way back when it looks like a zigzag of family tree. You're probably related to Robert the Bruce too.
Yeah, I got a lot of English and Scottish and Irish in me. But the way you're probably related to all that is you got all that Norse in you. So the Vikings probably came over at some point and really fucked real hard. And
my mom's father was his lineage was like half Scottish or something. So he's a Lindsay, and so the Lindsay line goes back to
my wife claims to be like almost every lineage. She's like anything you can mention. You're like Jewish. Oh, that's me. Russian. Oh yeah, that's me. I'm a Russian Jew.
I mean, you go back like 5 generations and everyone's related. Like you can find someone.
She's like Namibian. She's like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Australian. Mm-hmm. There's some of that in there. Okay, so back to the kill count. Dawn of the Dead versus We Were Soldiers. I'm going We Were Soldiers.
You are correct.
Yeah. I got one.
We Were Soldiers is 305 and Dawn of the Dead was 175.
Wow, that is a big difference between those two. Mm-hmm. Like more than 100.
Mm-hmm. Number 3. You're 1 for 2. Number 3 is Snakes on a Plane versus V for Vendetta.
Saw Snakes on a Plane in theaters. There could not have been that many people dying on Snakes on a Plane. Although I can't recall how it ends. And V for Vendetta, though, a lot of people dying in that. Just based on like the riots and the mobs in V for Vendetta, although I can't really recall if they were violent. I mean, I know they were like they had ill will in their hearts. I can't really recall if there was violence in the streets. But I'm still going to say V for Vendetta.
Okay, here, let me do this close to the microphone. Wrong.
Damn. Thanks for audibly getting the crossing out of my ability to get that.
Snakes on a Plane, it was 60 kills, and V for Vendetta was 59.
Oh my! So what the close. Fuck? What? Shut the fuck up!
So close.
So close. That doesn't barely count.
All right. Next, Day of the Dead. We had Dawn of the Dead. Now Day of the Dead, 1985.
This is the sequel to Dawn of the Dead
versus GoldenEye. 1995 James Bond film starring Pierce Brosnan.
Which I also saw in theaters.
Which, upon reviewing, is just... Those Pierce Brosnan Bond movies
silly.
Were just the worst.
The most 90s Bond movie you could have possibly made. It's so strange because the N64 GoldenEye is better
than the movie.
Than
Absolutely.
the movie GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And it was an N64 game. And I'm talking storyline better.
Right.
So it was this GoldenEye?
GoldenEye versus Day of the Dead.
This seems like a trick. They all seem like tricks, especially when you can separate them by one kill. So
hey man, we were soldiers and Dawn of the Dead was hundreds.
Yeah, and I got that one right. So there's something to what I'm saying. I'm gonna say there was a lot of just mindless killing in GoldenEye. I'm gonna go GoldenEye.
You are correct.
Yeah,
GoldenEye was 57 kills and Day of the Dead was 40.
If I can come out of this with a positive ratio, I'll be very happy.
All right. Your last opportunity to redeem yourself.
Okay, here it is. We're doing it.
1989's, some could say, one of the best action comedy movies ever made.
Oh, is this Die Hard?
Tango and Cash. Versus 2002's Cabin Fever.
2002's Cabin Fever with the kid from Boys with Topanga. What was that show? Topanga?
Boys World.
Little Boy Man.
Yeah. Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World. Little Boy Man. Yeah, so the friend from Boy Meets World was in that. I think I saw that in theaters as well.
I'm sure I saw Tango and Cash in theaters.
There is no way you saw Tango and Cash in theaters.
Who didn't?
Did you actually?
Probably.
In 1989?
Well, it's possible.
As a 7-year-old?
It's possible.
I'm not saying it's not possible. Do you think you actually saw Tango and Cash in theaters? That would be so impressive to me. I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what Tango and Cash is?
No.
Oh, dear.
What is it?
It's Sylvester Stallone and... Oh, shoot. Kurt Russell?
What's that one?
It's either Kurt Russell or the guy from Dirty Dancing.
Kevin Bacon?
No, that's Footloose.
Oh.
Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell it's a buddy cop action comedy.
This isn't the one where he cuts the pizza with the scissors, is it?
No, that's Cobra.
That's Cobra.
No, this is like a buddy cop movie. The only thing that I really remember is they zipline down off something when they're escaping a prison. Like,
okay,
they're imprisoned for some reason. Wrongly imprisoned, and they're a buddy cop duo.
Is there anything more fun than a zip line?
I wouldn't know.
If there is, I don't want to know about it. Okay, so Tango and Cash versus Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever had a very limited amount of people that were even available to be killed. It was a cabin in the woods kind of thing, and a bunch of friends went out there, maybe 7 at most. So I'm going to say Tango and Cash. If it's buddy cop, there's lots of people dying. There is no way I got that wrong.
You're lucky.
Oh.
Tango and Cash had
Lucky.
20 kills. Cabin Fever had 19.
Jesus Christ. I wasn't going to say I'm lucky, but now I'm going to say I'm lucky.
All right. That was kill count.
Yay. Tell us how you did on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah. You can find us at Horror Movie Talk on Twitter and Horror Movie Talk Podcast on Facebook.
Yee.
So that's the show. Thanks for listening. Please, if you enjoyed it, share it with a friend, or at the very least, find it in your heart to leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you can leave a review. I don't even know if you can leave a review on Spotify.
If you didn't enjoy it, share it with your friends and be like, listen to how stupid these guys are. This is so dumb.
Yeah. And remember to use code HMT at checkout if you're going to get Shudder, so you can get an extra, 3 weeks of Shudder for free. Special thanks to Eric Lee of Scariest Things Podcast. He left out a plug, or he put out a plug for our podcast on his. And I actually like how he broke it down. Scariest Things is kind of a a survey of horror. They go over a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
It's like Horror 101. They'll go over a ton of movies and kind of give you a bird's eye view of like what's good, what's worth checking out.
Yeah, they break down a lot of movies usually per podcast.
And then we do the deep dive into one movie. And so, he described it as they're the 101 and we're like the 201. And then there was another movie that was like another podcast that was super academic and like goes into other things.
Yeah.
So we're, whatever. So go check them out. Scariest Things Podcast, or their website is scariestthings.com. It's Scariest Things, except with only one T.
Right.
Yeah. And also, again, thanks to King of All Badgers for generously writing our new Kill Count theme. Thank you so much, oh God of Badgers. And again, if you're going to go on shop on Amazon anytime soon, go to our website, click through from our link, and share the love. That's what we got today. Let us know what you think and all that.
All that.
I wish I had the All That theme song.
Oh,
ready.
That'd be great.
All right, thanks, everyone. Have a good day. We'll see you next week.
We love you. Bye. God damn, look at those hot children.